For 100 years, the vessel of the alienqueen drifted through the silent dark. The Aurelia, once the pride of a galaxy-spanning empire, floated broken and powerless in the empty void between stars. Its sleek hull, once polished like silver, was scarred with the deep black gouges of war. Its engines, designed to bend space itself, had lain cold for generations. Only the faintest energy pulses remained, feeding the ship's automated stasis chambers and preserving a secret none in the galaxy knew still lived. Within the shattered halls of the Aurelia slept Queen Serenia of the Ilarian Dominion, the last of her kind. Her empire had fallen in a war against rivals who coveted her people's technologies. Betrayed, hunted, and defeated, Serenia had fled with her loyalists aboard the Aurelia. But her enemies struck down her fleet, scattering it to the stars. Only her flagship endured, though broken and stranded. The Queen had ordered herself placed in stasis slumber, a gamble that one day fate, or perhaps mercy, would return to her. But a century passed and no one came. The Aurelia became a tomb drifting in the void, until a human found it. Elias Rourke was not a hero. He was an engineer by trade, a scavenger by circumstance. The human frontier was littered with the wreckage of forgotten wars, derelict ships, ruined stations, collapsed colonies. Some men sought gold, others glory. Elias sought scrap. He was good with machines, good with his hands, and he could coax life out of things long considered dead. When his small survey craft sensors detected a massive energy shadow drifting at the edge of an uncharted system, Elias thought it was just another dead hulk. But as he drew closer and saw the ship's silhouette blotting out the stars, his breath caught in his throat. The Aurelia was vast, nearly 10 kilometers from prow to stern, its alien design unlike anything built by human hands. His scanners picked up faint but steady energy readings. Not just static discharge. Deliberate structured power. Something aboard was still alive. Docking was not easy. The Aurelia's hangar bays were sealed, its automated defense turrets long deactivated but still looming like stone gargoyles. Elias cut his way in through a maintenance shaft, floating into a cavernous bay whose size dwarfed his little scavenger vessel. Dust motes floated in the weak, artificial gravity. The silence was so profound that every sound of his boots against the deck echoed like thunder. He worked his way deeper into the ship, passing through corridors lined with murals and alien script. He saw statues of tall, elegant figures, beings with elongated limbs and eyes like pools of liquid light. The Ilarian people. Their artistry was breathtaking, even in decay. And then, deeper still, Elias found the stasis chamber. There were dozens of pods, but only one still glowed with pale light. Inside, a woman lay suspended, her body draped in regal armor. Her face was serene, her silver hair floating gently in the preservation field. Elias nearly stumbled backward when the pod sensors detected his presence. The woman's eyes opened. At first, Elias thought it was a trick of the light. But then the stasis chamber hissed, its seal releasing with a sound like a sigh. The woman stirred, and her gaze fixed upon him with otherworldly intensity. "You," she whispered, her voice dry and used for decades. "You are not of my kind." Elias swallowed hard. "I'm a human. My name's Elias Rourke. And you are." The woman stepped forward, her movements slow but regal, as though she had never forgotten what it meant to be a queen. "I am Serenia, last sovereign of the Ilarian Dominion. And you, human, stand upon the vessel of a queen." Elias blinked. He had expected to find salvage, not royalty. He had expected a corpse, not a living being. But Serenia was alive, and her ship, though crippled, was not truly dead. Serenia explained her story in fragments, her voice carrying the weight of a century's sorrow. She spoke of betrayal, of a galaxy that had once bent before her throne, of a war that tore her empire apart. "And now," she said bitterly, staring at the silent walls of her ship, "I awaken to find myself forgotten, my people gone, my enemies victorious, my crown worthless." Elias shook his head. "Not worthless. If this ship is alive enough to keep you alive, then maybe it can live again. I can fix it." Serenia regarded him skeptically. "You, one human. This vessel is a city forged by gods. It requires the touch of artisans long dead." Elias smirked faintly, though his hands trembled as he touched the alien control panels. "Lady, I've been fixing dead ships all my life. You'd be surprised what these hands can do." For days Elias worked. He crawled through conduits, replaced damaged relays with jury-rigged parts, and slowly awakened the Aurelia systems. Serenia followed him, sometimes silently, sometimes questioning his methods. At first, she dismissed his crude human tools, but as the lights of her ship flickered back to life, her eyes softened. "You wield your craft with devotion," she said quietly one evening as they sat in the command deck, watching the faint glow of restored systems. "Perhaps your hands are not so different from the artisans of my people." Elias chuckled. "Machines are machines. Doesn't matter if they're human or alien. They all just need someone who cares enough to keep them alive." But the galaxy had not forgotten Serenia completely. The Aurelia's faint power surge rippled into the void, drawing attention. A warlord's patrol ship detected the signal. The warlord, a ruthless conqueror named Varen Kale, had long hunted rumors of lost Ilarian technology. To him, the Aurelia was a prize worth empires. When Kale's fleet appeared at the edge of the system, Elias and Serenia stood together on the Aurelia's bridge, staring at the sensors. Dozens of ships, bristling with weapons, closed in. "They will not let us go," Serenia said grimly. "My enemy's children come to finish what their forebears began." Elias's mind raced. The Aurelia was not ready. Its weapons were still offline, its engines fragile. They couldn't fight, not yet. But Serenia placed her hand on the console, her eyes narrowing. "This ship is my heart. I will not see it fall again. Human, will you stand with me?" Elias hesitated only a moment before nodding. "Yeah. Let's bring her back to life." Ending. The battle that followed was unlike anything Elias had imagined. He poured every ounce of skill into coaxing the Aurelia systems to awaken. Power surged through conduits that had been cold for a century. Shields flared to life, weak but present. Ancient weapons hummed, their cores trembling with alien energy. Serenia stood tall upon the bridge, her voice echoing commands in her native tongue. The Aurelia responded, as though it still remembered its queen. Kale's fleet closed in, but the Aurelia stirred like a slumbering beast roused from dreams. Its cannons unleashed torrents of light, shattering enemy vessels. Elias rerouted power between shields and engines, pushing the ship beyond safe limits. Serenia's presence beside him was a force unto itself, regal and commanding, but also strangely human in her determination. Together they kept the Aurelia alive. When Kale's flagship attempted a final strike, Elias triggered a desperate maneuver, overloading the ship's space-bending drive. The Aurelia tore open a rift, swallowing itself in a cascade of light and hurling them across the stars.